Hey, everybody, welcome to Breakfast All Day. Christy, Alonso, getting a little caught up from last week. Disney, well, now Disney. I think it was a Fox movie.
Who are they anymore? It just says 20th century.
20th century is Call of the Wild.
There's no fox underneath it.
No, there is not. But there are lots of dogs. This is another adaptation of the Jack London novel, but the twist is the dog is a mocap creation.
I was talking to Nick's best friend's grandma at hockey the other day, and she's like, I wanted to go see Call of the Wild, so I found out that the dog wasn't real, and now I don't want to see it.
Well, I'm not, on paper, I'm fine with, yes, we shouldn't be putting animals in movies, and we can get more, more of a performance if we replace them with mocap. But Hachi Machi, this dog is lives permanently in the uncanny valley.
Right. And the extreme and cloying anthropomorphism is so distracting and so takes you out of the inherent emotion of it.
Some critics said, why not just have the dog burst into song?
Well, here's a question though, and technology of course has significantly improved in the 20 years since Cats and Dogs came out, but that looked kind of realistic. Those are real dogs, and then they just stuck peanut butter in their mouths to make it look like they were dogs.
That one I don't know, but like Babe, I mean, don't they just they just computer the mouths, right? Or is it the whole animal?
Babe those were 20 plus years ago. Yeah. Those were real animals, right? Because the motion capture didn't exist the way it does today.
Yeah. Babe, I totally buy into. This movie, I couldn't not see how fake the dog was. You could practically just see a green aura around the top of his head. It's not good. Not the fault of Terry Notary, who is the performer doing the dog. But yeah, there's way too much head cocking and facial expression and
Come closer to your mic.
Okay. This is directed by Chris Sanders, who is a very talented animator. He co-directed Lilo and Stitch and the first How to Train Your Dragon with Dean DeBlois. And this movie just does not work.
Do you want to describe it?
Sure.
For those of you who don't know what Call of the Wild's about.
Yeah, so Buck is a big dog who leads a pampered life in California in the 19th century, is kidnapped and taken up to the Yukon during the gold rush. At first becomes part of a sled team, goes through a variety of masters, some nice, some cruel, but eventually sort of reclaims his canine spirit and becomes one with the wilderness.
And Harrison Ford.
Harrison Ford
is the nice guy who ends up being his ultimate master, if you want to even call it that. They're more like companions. It's like they rescue each other.
Harrison Ford is somewhere between grizzled prospector and stockbroker who moves to the wild and grows a beard.
And similarly, this movie also occupies a weird middle ground because the stuff with the dog is so cutesy and so aimed at little kids because the dog is doing really silly, funny stuff. But then a lot of what happens here is really violent.
I was saying,
and intense.
You see a dog tear up a rabbit. You see a dog get hit by a club, and it's okay, sorry, 7-year-olds who were otherwise the target audience for this movie.
You see dogs tearing into each other. There's a whole thing with the sled pack hierarchy where the guy,
the alpha,
the dog who was the alpha gets pissed that Buck, gets a little groundswell of popularity and influence, and pins him down, has his mouth around his neck, and it's violent, it's scary. So I took Nick, and he's 10. He's in that perfect sweet spot where the cute kid stuff was funny to him, but he also was mature enough to deal with the intensity of the animal violence or danger. There's a lot of peril. But for anybody else, if the whole family's going and adults are going to be super skeeved out by how cutesy it is, and kids are going to be appalled by the violence of it. It's I don't know who it's for. It's part of the problem with it. Also, I so got taken out of it over and over again. The Harrison Ford character is grieving some losses and he drinks constantly. And the dog is judging him for his alcoholism. He'll raise an eyebrow honey, again, you promised, not tonight.
It's a doggy intervention.
Right. And no, literally he'll knock the glass out of Harrison Ford's hand or take the bottle in his mouth and go trotting away,
There's
it's
also,
just too cute.
Yeah, no, totally. There's also a part about midway through where I turned to Dave and I said, what does the protagonist want? Because I literally had no idea like what the story even was at that point.
Is Buck the protagonist?
He is, and eventually it gets back to like, oh, this whole thing is leading to Buck basically like, embracing the spirit of the like, the undomesticated like wild dog wolf canine within. But there's chunks there where you're like, where are we going and why? Like this movie just kind of meanders for chunks.
Right, as he bops from one person to the next. So Omar C, the whole section with Omar C is kind of fun, where he is finally in a pack for the first time, because he had been this pampered dog living with a judge in a beautiful Victorian house. And once he finally figures out what it's like to be part of a pack, like watching his development there is kind of exciting, watching him go from flailing in the back to like finding his place and becoming a leader. And Omar C has a lovely screen presence. And so I sort of enjoyed that whole section. But again, like the dog has crazy psychic powers. And so like Buck knows that Harrison Ford's coming down the hill with a letter to deliver when he's part of the mail pack, and like stops the whole pack to like stop for Harrison Ford's envelope. It's like shit like that made me so angry over and over again.
And can we agree the worst Dan Stevens performance ever?
The worst. I mean, Dan Stevens is literally twirling his mustache. It's so over the top.
Yeah. Like he thinks he's in like an old school Disney movie, like in the Keenan Wynn role or something. It's ridiculous.
He and his sister are wealthy, like really tacky nouveau riche, and
they're glamping basically.
They are, and they're bringing like their Victrola and a bunch of Moet and Chandon in a crate, and they expect to go like traipsing
find gold,
traipsing through the wilderness with that to go find more gold,
with not bothering to feed the dogs. It's like, what is even happening here?
It's crazy, and it does feel like it comes out of an entirely other movie, because I do feel like, you asked the question, what does the protagonist want? I do feel like somewhere in the morass of all this visual craziness, they are aiming for legitimate emotion. It's aiming for like excitement and inspiration, and then the notion of like finding your true calling and your true self, like that's in there somewhere. And like Dan Stevens comes like sauntering in from a whole other movie, like whoa, 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 whoa.
Yeah, like Dr. Robotnik basically.
Yeah, speaking of Sonic. So I gotta mention this too, as we talk about cinematography, Matt. Janusz Kaminski shot this.
What?
Steven Spielberg's DP. Janusz Kaminski shot this. And so, like, the widescreen vistas are quite beautiful.
Sure, yeah, but still, I'm telling you, like, every time I looked at the top of that dog's head, I knew that it was not sharing the frame with anybody else.
But is that his fault?
I think that kind of falls under his
I don't know. It's a visual effects thing.
I don't know.
He has to make the lighting look pretty.
We'll ask some experts about that one.
Yes.
But you know what Janusz Kaminski's first big American movie was?
I don't remember.
Cool as Ice.
There you go. See, so it all comes full circle.
Vanilla Ice, Harrison Ford.
Now we're in the Yukon. It's cold there as well. Anyway, I'm saying a 5.2, because every once in a while, when we don't have to look at the dog's face.
When is that? He's in like every shot of this movie.
He's in every shot, but like a lot of it is just Harrison Ford, doing dialed down, grizzled, world weary Harrison Ford. He and the dog out in the wilderness. It can be kind of lovely. There's some lovely scenery.
If he had gone full bore, like, well, she here, Lukey. I gave it a 4.5.
Did you?
Didn't I?
You said 5.
Okay, 5.
You want to change that?
No, 5 is fine. Whatever.
We're saying 5.1.
Yeah.
It's not good. It's a really weird movie, you guys.
It's not for anyone.
It's for a 10-year-old. If you have a 10-year-old,
it is for Nick Lemire,
take
and
them.
no one else.
Yes. He's like, I kind of liked it. Well, good for you.
There you go. Perfect. All right. Thank you for watching. Enjoy with your 10-year-olds. Please like this video. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us at BeFastAllDay on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And, of course, check out our Patreon page at patreon.com/BeFastAllDay. Doing lots of fun stuff over there. This week, we're reviewing a movie that was selected by our Patreon subscribers. Looking forward to talking about Spike Lee's Summer of Sam. And just a quick reminder, if you have friends who used to watch What the Flick and wonder, hey, what happened to those guys? Tell them this happened to those guys, and that they should check us out. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you next time. Bye.
Bye.